All right, day 3 of the yaps. And today, I don't have a fucking clue what to talk about. Honestly, I did not feel fantastic for all of today. Literally, I spent some time watching YouTube. I spent some time procrastinating on things that I know I should have done. And I knew I was procrastinating on them, and I still did. And I felt terrible. And I only feel better now because I don't know, I had a really good call with one of the guys that I'm coaching, and kind of called him out the same way that Connor called me out the other day in terms of where my weaknesses are, why I'm not where I want to be, why I lack self confidence and self belief and everything. And I was basically able to pass on that value to him, which was fulfilling. It made me feel good. And then I went to the gym, and now I feel a lot better about myself. Um, to be honest, the thing that I was stressing about was um, it was like how like a script is structured, and I was thinking I need to change the structure of my script that I use in Wildcard Closes to teach my guys, because the way that Connor sells is slightly different. And really what I mean specifically is the first part of the call after setting the frame. Now, when I used to sell mobility, I would go straight into a factual discovery, and say, okay, cool, what is the problem? How long has it been going on? What have you tried to kind of fix it? How are those? What impacts is this having on you, your personal life, etc.? And then I would go into goals and start to build the gap like that. But the way that Connor does it in Cowboy Closes is he goes straight into desired outcome, and then kind of goes from there. And I was like, shit, okay, I need to change my method a little bit. And so on some of the calls that I've been taking recently, I've been trying to start with desired outcome. And yeah, I don't mind it, because Connor's just so big on building the gap as big as you can, pushing back why is that important, what's next, what's your 5-10 year plan, and spending so much time on goals. And then I was like, fuck, all right, I need to change the way that I teach it, because I don't start with desired outcome, I start with current situation. And then I think I just came to the conclusion that it really just doesn't matter at the end of the day. As long as you build the gap, it doesn't matter if you start with current situation or you start with overall outcome. But I don't know, I was just going back and forth with Claude. I had all of these scripts and it just got overwhelming. I ended up like biting this nail, which is a habit that I have broken. But when I get overwhelmed and stressed, then it kind of comes back a little bit. And I was like, fuck, all right, just need to chill for a sec. Bottom line of that is it doesn't really fucking matter as long as you're building the gap and there's a strong, clear point A and point B. It doesn't really matter what you do first. I did have a sales call today that, yes, it wasn't the best lead, but it left me feeling not so great about my skill and my process, because it was a bad call and I struggled with taking it places at certain points. I was like asking questions and she didn't really know why I was asking the question. She didn't really know what remote sales was, and I was like, fuck, all right. And then I was like, fuck, all right, well, I could have handled that way better, and I didn't. Anyway, I feel like you get those. There's going to be good calls and bad calls. But yeah, I've been doing my push-ups, and I like that because it's easy. And I know that at the end of every day, I can get my 500 push-ups done. And that makes me feel good. I like looking at myself in the mirror. My chest is like constantly tight. So in my mind, that is a good thing. I guess that this is just kind of stacking proof that I am the person that I say I am. It's quite interesting as well. I don't intend for anyone to see these videos. yeah, I've had some people message me and go, oh, your video popped up on my explore page or for you page or whatever, and I'm like, oh fuck, all right, people are watching them, it's popping up for people. So I want to sprinkle in bits of value and talk about concepts and ideas and, you know, sales related, mindset related, and have a bit more structure to them. Because right now, even this one, I've just been yapping about like today and how I'm feeling and etc., which is all well and good, but I don't want it to be like that every day. I want to sprinkle in, like I said, ideas, concepts, value. So I'll try to think of some things now. Like, yeah, I mean, I kind of did talk about building the gap in sales. And if you don't know what that is, it is point A and point B, right? From where they currently are to where the desired outcome. And the bigger the gap, the more likely they are to invest. If someone is, you know, an analogy that Connor uses is if you're jumping over you've got to cross a body of water and it's like this wide, you can just jump over it, right? The gap is nothing. But if it's like an ocean, you're gonna need a fucking boat. You're gonna need to swim across it. It's gonna require a lot more effort to bridge that gap, essentially. So same in sales. If someone, I don't know, they don't mind their current situation, they're quite happy with things, and they just want a little bit more freedom, that's obviously not a gap, right? But if they hate their current situation, their boss is a cunt, they are struggling to pay rent, their parents think they're a failure, they're suicidal, and they want to get to a point where they're making $500,000 a year and traveling the world and have got 10 wives, etc., that's a massive gap, and the problem's big enough for them then to justify investing a large amount. So yeah, to circle back to like what my whole stress was about, I don't think it matters whether you get point B first, meaning the goals, the desired outcome, or you start with kind of point A where they're currently at. But what is important is that you just push the goals out. You push the desired outcome out as far as you can, by probing and then asking what's next and asking them to get specific. A line that I really like using is like, let's say, for example, they're struggling to like come up with goals or a desired outcome. You can say, have you ever heard the saying, without a vision, the people perish? I think it's like a biblical Bible verse or something. It's like, without a vision, the people perish. And then maybe they'll say yes or no. Either way, you can say, do you kind of get the gist of it? Yeah, okay, cool. So like, what is your vision? Like, without a destination in the GPS, you don't know where you're going. You know what I mean? You need to have a clear goal. Another one, if they're not being super specific, you can say, have you heard the saying, life rewards the specific ask and punishes the vague wish? And they'll probably go, oh, well, I don't know, no. It's like, do you get the gist of it? Yeah, okay, cool. So how specific can you get with this? Exactly how much do you want to make? Exactly where do you want to live? Exactly what do you want your life to be like? And all of these probes just allow for them to give you a deeper answer for what they actually want. So yeah, I guess there's a little bit of sauce on creating the gap. And yeah, maybe I don't know whether or not it's better to come into these with a idea of what I want to yap about, or if I just yap. Really what I want is like more structure, because even this one was a little bit quite a bit unstructured, a bit all over the place. So I think I will focus on that, getting a structure for tomorrow's yap, and try to get better and better every single time. It doesn't matter so much what I'm actually talking about, but I'm more concerned with how I talk about it, my tonality, the filler words, and how I structure the yap, I guess. But that's it. Peace. See you tomorrow.